Welcome in to Game 6 pregame of the PHNX D-backs podcast right here on PHNX. Sorry, I got to do the drum solo. My name is Derek Montilla. Of course, I am your mayor of the PHNX office. I'm also mayor of the Postseason. This man over here, he's my temporary vice mayor. He's the hot tag, and he's the one and only Patrick Lyons from DNVR.
Ski, Derek.
A ski to you, Patrick, and a ski to you all. Ski to you, Damon, behind the Mac. And I ski to the Arizona Diamondbacks because today is a big game for them historically. One of the biggest games in franchise history. If this is it, please let me know, is what I have to say. But, I mean, the Arizona Diamondbacks face elimination for the first time in the postseason this year. And here we are. The Arizona Diamondbacks have a chance to pull off the improbable task of winning 2 games at Citizens Bank Park, which is not very easy, and advancing to the World Series.
But it's one game at a time. One game at a time.
One inning
9
at
innings.
a time.
Anything can happen.
One at
Absolutely.
bat at a time. Yeah, we need to just take this thing a little bit slower, right? Slow things down. We do have Merrill Kelly on the mound. That's a good thing. Patrick is wearing a shirt underneath his.
This goes along with what we were talking about right before we went live as well.
It's true. Yeah.
There's been a whole lot of chess talk going on this set.
Yeah, you saw the other night. I was unhinged. I had a shirt that had pop-off buttons. I showed Damon my chest several times because this team has made me do maniacal things. This is an unlikely playoff run, and I just want to say this. I know that before we play this game, a lot of people are, a lot is riding on this. If Diamondbacks don't advance, it's definitely going to make a lot of people sad. But I just want everybody to hold their heads high regardless of the outcome today, because this is still an incredible thing this team has done. And we are here now, again, facing elimination. But if you asked me who I wanted on the mound, Merrill Kelly would be the guy. I think that you could say a lot about Zach Gallen. We know Zach Gallen has had his ups and downs this year, but Merrill has been the guy for this team. It's just the offense. The offense is what I'm worried about tonight, and what the offense can do against Aaron Nola, who was really, really good against this team and in the playoffs so far.
Yeah, the mainstay's got to show up. I mean, we said at the beginning of this series, the recipe is you have to win at least 3 of the 4 games started by Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly. And they are 0 for 3 right now. They obviously have to win this one to keep going.
That's such a
but
good
they
point.
could potentially win 1 of 4 and win this series. Teams trailing 3-2, like the Diamondbacks are going into today's game, will win Game 6 in a 7-game series 55.9% of the time.
Oof.
And in the league championship series, 12 of 19 times. So historically speaking, we're going to be back here tomorrow doing the same thing again, brother.
Which is interesting because I feel like that goes more with the course of the home teams winning and then the away team, or, you get those first 2 games under your belt and then you're down 3-2, but then you have 2 more games at home. It would have been critical for the Diamondbacks to win Game 5. And I don't know how they're going to come back from that kind of loss. I did feel like it was a bit demoralizing. And then also you have traveling to Philadelphia, playing in a hostile environment, and playing, once again, a very, very good pitcher and a team that's very hot. But let's take a look at the updated playoff bracket, because it just I don't want to start being negative here, but this might be the last time we see the Diamondbacks still actively on the playoff bracket. So at least playing games. So I think that this is doable. I don't think the Diamondbacks have no chance. And I think that's the thing that a lot of people who aren't Diamondbacks fans might think, that they don't have a chance here in this series, that playing 2 games at Citizens Bank Park is too difficult. But I mean, they're alive and they have a chance. And I will say that Brandon Pfaadt obviously is very encouraging the way he pitched in his last performance to be the guy that starts in Game 7. I would not have said that. I would not have said anything close to that when we started this postseason run. So Brandon Pfaadt has done an excellent job. Merrill Kelly is a guy that I absolutely would have wanted in that Game 7 scenario. So considering the Diamondbacks are facing elimination tonight, he's, again, the one that I feel like I am most thankful is in the spot. But the offense, they just need to figure out a way to get it done. And I know that Torey talked about being aggressive. He talked about their base running, that they're going to be aggressive. But he also talked about not flying across the country to get their butts kicked. Do we have that clip? Oh, we do not have that clip. Okay.
Well, I'll say this about being a lot more aggressive. It's going to be easier for them to do it against Aaron Nola than Zach Wheeler. Wheeler just does not allow stolen bases. Obviously, he does change up his release time, like going to the plate with the slide step, which is something that's incredibly hard to do. It sounds like such a simple thing, but if you're not a really good pitcher like a Zach Wheeler or Aaron Nola, it can be really hard to do that because you have a rhythm that you are trying to get in. You're still trying to throw strikes. So imagine trying to throw a strike, but you're doing something differently than you would typically when there's a guy on base. So I think they'll have that opportunity to do that a little bit more today, and they're going to have to do that. And they're going to have to continue to do it. That's the thing. Is it first guy out to shoot? If it's Corbin Carroll gets maybe a bad jump on the righty Nola and he gets thrown out, you still have to stick with that game plan. Next time he's on base or the next time someone else is on base that has a little bit of speed, you still have to go and take advantage of those opportunities because this could be another one of those low-scoring games where Nola doesn't give up much. Hopefully Merrill Kelly doesn't give up much. And then it's just a matter of getting yourself in scoring position and a walk, reach on an error, steal second base, and all of a sudden that's basically a double. All you need is a single. All you need or two sacrifices.
And that's what they've done all year. They've also at times have struggled when they do get that guy on in a runner score in scoring position and no outs and can't bring him home. Like that's been actually a frustrating scenario that we've seen from the Diamondbacks quite a bit. Solario says Wheeler was in my nightmare. Dude's a beast. Same. I absolutely have a nightmare about Zach Wheeler striking me out 27 times. Clint Baker said if we can start fast and quiet the crowd, we have a chance. That's it. I mean, I will say that about like one thing about Phillies fans that I really respect is that they understand the situation, right? So they're not like
they go hard.
They go hard, but like, when their team is down or like, in certain scenarios, you see them reacting as they should. And so we've seen times in the series where the Diamondbacks were able to quiet that crowd a bit, but those home runs that they gave up, it's like every time they just got them pumped right back up to where they were at. They have no problem getting back to that level. But we do also have a super chat, I believe, that I ignored. I did want to say thank you to Brandon Buckingham. He said, Phillies fans are so damn cocky today. It's going to be awesome when we win the next two. Love the attitude. Love the confidence. Diamondbacks could get a little bit of that confidence.
We see you, Brandon.
Chris is trying to submit Mailbag Monday questions in the chat. And as if we don't have a short enough time frame, Chris wants to know. No, we're not doing that yet. We'll come back to that. Mailbag Monday it's always Mailbag Monday on Monday, but we'll get to that shortly. But before we do, of course, we did want to talk about Merrill Kelly and Aaron Nola and take a look at the pitching comparison between these two pitchers, because again, this is the guy. This is who you want on the mound for the Arizona Diamondbacks. And Aaron Nola was very good in game 2 facing off against Merrill Kelly. But of course, I feel like he is the better option, like you said, than Zach Wheeler, who was a Cy Young candidate for most of the year. Nola had a 4.46 ERA with a 1.15 whip and 202 strikeouts. Merrill Kelly had a 3.29 ERA this season with a 1.19 whip and 187 strikeouts himself. And again, I don't know how Brandon Pfaadt became the guy in a lot of our minds that we wanted to see in big game situations, but Merrill Kelly is the guy that most of us would have wanted to be in this exact spot with the Diamondbacks facing elimination in the postseason at any point, I think, during the season.
Yeah, the numbers again for some of the Phillies against Merrill Kelly are favorable. It's Realmuto, and then you hate to hear that it's Schwarber and Turner with some pretty good success. Harper not as much. 1 for 5 with a walk. Hasn't struck out against Merrill Kelly during the regular season at least. So minimizing that kind of damage, I think, is just going to be critical and keeping his team in the game because it's about winning. That's the thing that pitchers at Coors Field have to deal with. It's being better than the other pitcher, not giving up runs, not posting a bunch of goose eggs. That's virtually impossible at Coors Field. But Kelly here is going to get boosted a little bit by the Diamondbacks offense. They go to the plate first, and that's a critical piece that was obviously in their advantage in LA during the division series. It was critical in Milwaukee as well. So getting out there, scoring an early run is going to be big, and then Kelly really minimizing any damage if it does come with Realmuto, Turner, or Schwarber at the plate.
We've been blaming the offense quite a bit for their lack of production in this series, but again, you just got to tip your cap to what Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola have done so far in the playoffs and in this series. And I think that's the bigger concern is, getting your offense that kind of was stifled in the last game back on track. against another very, very good pitcher that the Phillies have to put out there. Things, yeah, I mean, I won't lie. Things aren't super positive for me personally.
They've been better.
They've been better. But I'm going to make a bet that hopefully puts all the bad juju on the Phillies later tonight and wins me zero money. But before we get there, I do want to thank you guys all for being here. Of course, in the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure to do so now. Sign up for notifications. That way you don't miss when any of these wonderful shows that we have been putting on for you go live. You'll get all of our content that way. Also, leave us a thumbs up. That just means you like us. And if you like us, give us a thumbs up. If you're listening on the audio podcasting side, leave us a positive review. We always appreciate those 5-star reviews and appreciate your feedback. And make sure you're subscribed over there as well. Also, grab the shirt of a dangerous team. It's a connected team, and a connected team is a fucking dangerous team. So get the official shirt of a dangerous team over at the PHNX Locker. It's a beautiful shirt. You can get that now. PHNXLocker.com. Of course, if you are a diehard, you will get 20% off that purchase. If you are not a diehard, you can join us today. And one of the benefits of joining us and getting that new diehard membership is getting your free t-shirt every single year. And like Patrick said on the DNVR show, this thing pays for itself. It really does. Get your free shirt. You get 20% off all future purchases. You get all sorts of benefits from our partners, including a $50 gift certificate from Mountain Mike's Pizza and so much more. You get access to our members-only Discord lounge, which is the best place to be an Arizona sports fan. Sorry, Mac is singing terribly, and I can't even think because her singing is so awful.
She won't
penetrated
stop.
my brain,
and she won't stop.
I can't talk. But anyway, that's another benefit. You can come hang out with us here and listen to Mac's terrible singing. Also, get yourself all sorts of wonderful discounts with our partners and all of Jesse's content. Do not miss out on Jesse's version of his mailbag, which he stole from us on this show when he used to be a part of it. But speaking of that, it's Monday, and no matter what happens in this series, every year is still our year. That's the way it works on this show.
Okay.
Every goddamn year is our year, Patrick.
Right.
Every month is Hispanic Heritage Month. Every month is also Black Women's History Month.
Pride Month.
Every month is Pride Month on this show. Every month is Pride Month. We don't have a night. We have Pride Month all the time. We also celebrate Shark Week every single week because every week on this show is Shark Week. Every day is Earth Day. And every Monday, no matter if it's the playoffs or not, we go to the mailbag. Damon, let's go.
My mailbox, always something interesting in my mailbox. I try to get to everything in my mailbox, and then once in a while there's a letter that makes me go wow, wow. My mailbox.
We definitely don't have enough time for all this dancing and stuff, but let's go, Damon. Let's go. We got games to watch. Brian Abdallah asked, "What will it take for the D-backs to play aggressive on the bases today?" I think knowing that their back is against the wall. I think knowing that their identity was based in being aggressive on the base path. And I mean, I've even seen it in times where we wanted them to run and get those extra runs in, and they kind of hesitated at third base and stuff like, I will give the Phillies their credit. They're playing some amazing defense so far in this game, which has really prevented the Diamondbacks from being aggressive on the base path. But I feel like you got to pull out all the stops.
You got it. I mean, Rob Thompson said, talking about the game 5 double steal with Stott going to second, Harper stealing home. They were being aggressive because they were just trying to force the defense into something.
Exactly.
Try to make something happen.
Exactly.
And if it doesn't,
live
so
with
be
the
it.
results. Live with the results.
You live with it. And I think for a Phillies team that is notably not good defensively, maybe average, below average in some areas.
Maybe they're taking it too easy. Yeah, they're taking it too easy on them, right? Make them make those big mistakes, and that can lead to more runs scoring or. Their confidence
has to be really high because they haven't. I don't even know that there's been an error by the Phillies during this series.
I don't
maybe
believe so.
One inconsequential, if any.
Yeah.
But their defense has been strong. They haven't gotten a ton of opportunities. D-backs have been putting the ball in play. It's not like they're striking out every single at bat.
Yeah.
But even still, a couple more balls to the opposite way to advance a runner. Those kind of little things will go a long way in Game 6.
They had 8 hits in Game 5, and it really didn't feel like they had 8 hits.
No, it didn't.
5. So
it did not.
They need to figure out a way to connect the base running, connect some more hits, some key hits, and bring those runs in because the Phillies, they're going to score runs. Like we said, you're not going to get away with too many victories scoring 2 runs against the Philadelphia Phillies. So got to get that back up. What else we got, Damon? Our guy Kevin Simeon, KSimeon7 on Twitter asks, what are the chances Walker is pushed back in the lineup and bats 6th or 7th? Also, is an opener a legitimate option to start this game for our D-backs? I'll say that it doesn't matter who it is out there. Merrill Kelly's that guy. At this point, the bullpen is ready to roll. And I think that if Merrill has struggles, if he has issues, he's not going to last very long in this game. I think even if he gives up too many hard hit balls, even if they're caught or whatever, if Torrey starts seeing it go in that direction, I think he's going to pivot and go to the bullpen. I don't know how early that's going to be. And I don't know, how fast he's going to do that with Merrill out there.
And the bullpen's well rested. A lot of those guys that went on back-to-back days in games 3 and 4, we didn't see in game 5. So they had off on Saturday and they had off on Sunday. So you're right. They have to actually, they have to go hard on that, go into the bullpen if they need it. Walker's still batting 5th tonight.
Yeah,
same lineup we've seen. Yeah, same lineup we've seen the entire postseason. Pham is back in there, batting 5th at DH, but that still does mean that Thomas is playing center field. He's batting 7th now instead of 8th, so Longoria drops.
But yeah, with Christian Walker struggling, they're not relenting on him being in that spot. And I think the idea here is that they know what Christian Walker is capable of, and they need him to wake up, to be honest, because he's such a huge part of driving those runs in, especially with Carroll and Marte's ability in the postseason so far to get on base. Carroll hasn't been as good in this NLCS, but he's another guy that needs to figure out a way to put it together and help contribute to this team.
Who else bats cleanup if not Walker?
Moreno. Gabby
Moreno.
Then
who bats 3rd? Who's getting on base ahead of Moreno? Like, ultimately, the best hitter on teams. We're starting to see this. I mean, I actually would be kind of okay with that. Figure something out, but this has been the recipe, and it's like, what's more likely, tinkering a little bit to try to make something happen, or sticking with the guys that get you? I think it is a fair discussion.
Which is wild because Torrey has been kind of he's never really stuck to a lineup. That's been kind of part of his managerial style, is to kind of switch things up and move things around. And so far we're seeing him stick with a fairly consistent lineup.
Yeah, Jensen asking if it's Longoria or Rivera. It's going to be Longoria.
Longoria at 3rd.
It's the same guys that you've been seeing pretty much the entire postseason.
Yeah. All right, what else we got, Damon? Next question comes from Jacob Schultz. Jacob asks, is Zach an ace or is he a number 2 starter? Oh, wow, this is a very existential question.
Can you wait to get back to this question that came in the mail during the offseason to try to figure that out? Because here's the thing. Clayton Kershaw, you would say, is an ace. But if you look at his postseason performance this year and a few other years, you're going, well, this guy can't possibly. It's a different season. It's altogether like Nathan Eovaldi. I don't know that I necessarily call an ace, but when it comes to the postseason, he is an ace. That's a hard question to define. I think he's pretty much viewed around the league as the Diamondbacks ace, and he is really one of those elite pitchers. If you go back and look the last 4 seasons, there haven't been too many guys that have been that much better than him.
I think he's Michael literally just stole the words out of my mouth. I think he's gassed.
Yeah.
I think he's gassed. I think it's been a long season. I think they relied on him and Merrill Kelly a bunch down the stretch. I think Merrill Kelly at least got at least some time off due to the blood clot issue yet. I mean, it's not the best reason to have time off, but at least he got some time off that was unexpected and at least gives him a little bit more. Zach Gallen's been pitching consistently. He's been healthy, and he's been putting in the work to get the Diamondbacks to this point in the playoffs. But I don't know. I mean, he's still a young guy. This is his first playoff experience. So I say lay off him. Lay off him. That's what I say. I also think it's hilarious that in one of the postseason interviews he gave prior to this series with the Phillies, he discussed picking Clayton Kershaw's brain during the series versus the Dodgers. And now this is happening, and those two things can't be coincidental.
Yeah, what exactly did he pick out of
what did he say to
the
him?
Wrong spot?
Yeah, what did you do? You broke him, Clayton Kershaw.
If you're not sure he's an ace, wait to see what happens in 2 years from now when he goes into free agency and see how much money he makes, and then we'll go ahead and address this again.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, that's definitely a big offseason question, but hope we capped that enough for you in this short period of time. What else we got, Damon? We're rapid firing going. Aaron Hughes, who has had the best postseason? Alec, Gabby, Marte, Pfaadt. Hard to argue against any of them. Absolutely hard to argue against any of them. I mean, Brandon Pfaadt did something historic. Ketel Marte did something historic. Gabby Moreno has been an absolute beast, and Alec Thomas is a legend based on what these guys have done so far. I think Gabby, for me, it's not surprising because Gabby Moreno has been doing it consistently for this team and has been a huge part of why they're here and why they're having success in the playoffs. Ketel Marte, again, super consistent. Mr. Consistency at times for this team, doing something a bit historic. I think for me, it would probably be Brandon Pfaadt because it's the biggest surprise of that group, right? Alec Thomas has had some key moments, and those have been special for this team, and it's hard not to acknowledge that, but you kind of expect that at times in postseason. We've talked about that a ton, about the unlikely hero that steps up in the postseason and has those big hits. Brandon Pfaadt doing what he has done so far in this postseason has been fairly impressive, and I know he kind of didn't have the greatest start in Milwaukee, but outside of that, he has just been literally one of the best pitchers in the postseason.
It's crazy to think that if they can win these 2 games and go to the World Series, we might see a different 4 names on that. Hey, who's been the key to the postseason? Because that's at least 6 more games going forward. But for me, I think it's between Moreno and Marte. Marte a little more consistent. Moreno offering a little bit more pop in big spots, but Marte does lead the team this postseason in OPS. So for me, it would just have to be his consistency and doing it at the top of the lineup too.
And what he does behind the dish for this team has been incredible as well. What else we got? Piece of Yoshi, who added hashtag Fire Damon to his Twitter handle here.
Yoshi, you know what Yoshi's last name is? His full name, Yoshi Stubbs, because clearly he's got to be related to Garrett Stubbs if you're taking shots at our boy Damon.
Sure. That is for sure. Let's see here. If we win, was it because I listened to him or I'm listening to Merrill Kelly's walk-up song all day? Yes. No, nothing you do is impacting this team. And then he says, if we lose, who's more to blame? The aces, the offense, Derek for saying D-backs in 5 on the PHLY show, or Damon and Sean for calling Schwarber fat.
Is he skinny? That's my question.
Okay. He could be in the middle. Also, incidentally, so maybe this is too off base. Derek, do pitchers have walk-up music or do they have walk-out music?
Got him. I think you got him.
I mean, I'm not trying to get anybody, but you do walk up a mound.
You want to add hashtag
but it's a little
Fire
different.
Patrick to your funny little Twitter.
You do ascend the bump. Yeah. So I guess maybe you are walking up the mound, but I think of it more as walking out. No.
Yeah. No, you might be right there. You might be right. All right. Let's see. Honestly, though, if we're discussing who is to blame, I would have to say the offense. Right. I mean, the offense has completely disappeared in several games, and you just can't expect the D-back starting pitching to hold this Phillies offense scoreless. You just can't expect that. In fact, it was impressive the one game they were able to do it, that the only run they were able to score was on a wild pitch. So I think you're asking for too much there when it comes to blaming this on the pitching staff. But don't get me wrong.
I blame Gallen.
Gallen definitely has been a disappointment in this series. I'm sure he would be the first one to say that for sure.
Yeah, he's probably towards the top of the list. You can't blame the bullpen in any capacity. The offense as a whole has been a little disappointing. I mean, I don't.
There's some guys on the offense that have disappeared, including Corbin Carroll and Christian Walker.
I don't think there's a ton of blame on Torrey necessarily, because again, you just look at the results and you go, I mean, this might be what you would have expected. You know, you're still able to get 2 wins out of it, but when you kind of play as expected as a whole, it is hard to blame people. But you do look and go, if you could have gotten 1 win out of Zach Allen's 2 starts,
I'll tell you, it's
now 3-2 in favor of the Diamondbacks, and we're talking about them possibly going to the World Series in the next 5 hours.
Yeah, and you got to tip your cap to that Phillies team, because again, the Diamondbacks have at least put up a better fight than like the Braves did. So I mean, so far the Diamondbacks are trying their best, but this Phillies team is a very, very good team, and they again, we're gonna. If it doesn't go the Diamondbacks' way, we're going to, find things that they did wrong. But just like with the pitching, there comes a point where you have to acknowledge how good Zach Wheeler has been. There's got to be a point where you acknowledge that Aaron Nola is the one that's causing this offense to not be good, not the fact that this offense is just in a slump. Because I do remember a time not too long ago in this very postseason run that they hit 4 home runs in an inning. So didn't seem like there was anything wrong with the offense.
And you acknowledge Schwarber, and you acknowledge Turner and Realmuto and Harper. Like they've got a lot of big
Kyle
time
Schwarber
dudes.
Might be the tribal chief.
Those have been the only guys really that have done it too. Like you look, Castellanos has been really quiet.
Yeah.
Stott, a lot more quieter than the previous rounds.
Chris brings up a good point. Marte's defense and a few noodle arms Saturday. Yeah, that definitely didn't help. And Marte's defense definitely came into play a couple of times, including aiding and laying Gabby out for sure. But we got one more question in the mailbag, and that comes from Bold as Bronze, and he asks a question I'm sure that's too complex for us to even address right now. But he says, will ownership and the front office actually address our glaring holes at third base DH and starting pitching next season. They have to.
Yeah.
They have to. They can't not believe in this team. It's okay for the guy that's been asking us to fire Torrey all season long to not believe in this team. It's okay for some of the sad sacks that have constantly been trying to protect their own feelings and not really believe in a team that they didn't want to break their heart. But the front office and Mike Hazen and everybody involved with this organization needs to see the potential in this team. They need to understand the key pieces that they have that are under team control, that it's very cheap for a very long time for this team. That's not going to cost them a lot of money to have a lot of these guys on this roster for years to come. So they need to bring them help. They need to add to them. And they don't need to go out and spend the most money on the most high-priced free agents, but they need to bring in guys that are capable of fixing these issues that they have. You know, third base is a big problem. The carousel that they've had to try to, you know, fill that role has been noticeable. Starting pitching, they are lucky that they got into the playoffs with the way that they had to patch together a starting rotation for the last 2 months of this season. And that is something that they can't allow to happen again, considering how close this team right now is to a World Series. They have to continue to build on this. And if they don't, then I can completely understand the fans' ire. I know you go through that with this Colorado Rockies team, where it seems like no matter how full that stadium is, the ownership and the front office just don't want to go out there and spend the big money on team or players. And when they do, it's something like Chris Bryant, where it seems like, you know, it's spending a lot of money on a guy that isn't fixing the main issue that the team is currently having.
Yeah, you have to spend the money wisely, and you know the Rockies definitely have had troubles with that. Right, they've only signed 2 players over $70 million in their franchise history, and the other one besides Chris Bryant was Mike Hampton, which people would be surprised to hear about. And so they like giving they like spending some money, but they just re-sign and extend their own guys. Yeah. So it's not necessarily getting free agents. It's interesting that looking at it on FanGraphs, there's already $132 million looking like it's being projected for next year's payroll, which I think is an increase over this year by a decent amount.
$22 million.
Because you know Christian Walker is going to make a hefty increase in his final year of arbitration. Paul Sewell just a little bit. Yeah. So like, there's not a lot of guys making a ton of money. It's Ketel Marte is going to make, you know, probably have the highest deal. Yeah. So they might have to get a little bit creative, but this influx from all these home games, I mean, 4 games, you know, in October has brought in a lot of money to this team. So hopefully, even if they do have to do it on the cheap, they're able to, you know, to make some kind of improvements this offseason.
All right. Well, we got about 5 minutes, close to 5 minutes to first pitch. So let's take a look at my betting odds or my bet for tonight. This is my same game parlay, and I am bringing it to the Phillies tonight. Talk about Sonic the Hedgehog. I am hedging all of my emotions on this one. I am picking Phillies to win money line. I'm taking Aaron Nola to strike out 4 Diamondbacks batters. I am taking Kyle Schwarber to hit a home run. Threw Ketel Marte in there just because I'm no fool, and I think he's going to still extend that hitting streak. And then, of course, Merrill Kelly, he has a 1 walk, because I think Merrill's at least going to walk 1 guy with the way that this formidable lineup is currently hitting. If he's a smart man, he will at least walk 1. So there goes, putting some of my bad betting juju on the Phillies, and hopefully it works to extend this series to a Game 7. But here we go. Let's go watch the Arizona Diamondbacks face elimination against Philadelphia Phillies and pull off a big win. I'm excited for it. I hope you guys are too. You can follow us on Twitter. I am at cap_caveman with a K. This maniac next to me is at Patrick D. Lyons. Damon is our dog. We are Damon's dogs. Woof, woof. You can get him at Damon Dog. That's DAWG. Of course, our show is at PHNX D-backs, but all roads do lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We appreciate you guys for stopping by. We will be back 10 minutes after the final out for our postgame show, so join us for that. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it is so much more fun when you force a Game 7.
We all silly like the mayor.